2022 World Communication Day. Deeply we'll be looking into it, how important is communication, what is even communication when we talk about it. All of this we'll look into an extreme this morning. We already have an amazing guest in the house. Our very first guest this morning is Reverend Father Dr. Martin Anusi. He is the Director of the Social Communications of the Catholic Diocese of Awka and Fides Media. Reverend Father, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, viewers and listeners.
Welcome to the show. And of course, we have the second guest in the house, in the person of Miss Mercy. I hope I got that.
Yeah.
Miss Mercy Hills. Okay. She is a journalist, and of course, she also works with the Fides Media, and she's a girl child advocate. You know, the people who advocate so much for the girl child. Good to have you on the show, Miss Hills.
Thank you very much, Iber.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. I know we've got a lot of questions this morning, but let me begin with Reverend Father Martins. 2022 World Communication Day. Let's begin with that word, communication. What it is? What is it all about? If someone were to ask.
Yeah, communication is a way of life. It has become a culture. You know, before people think that communication is about instruments, you know, about having my computer, having my phone, but communication has transcended actually the instruments of communication, and it has become a way of life. It has become a lifestyle. It has become something that is connatural with our nature. You cannot but communicate. That's the best way I would put it. So it's a way of life. If you want to live, you have to communicate. Even the dead person is communicating.
Oh, really?
So yeah, communication transcends life. It goes beyond life. Even dead person. That's why inanimate objects also communicate.
And that's why I want to ask you now, how do we communicate?
Yeah, we communicate by our gestures. We communicate by our thoughts. Even when I'm thinking, I'm not saying anything. I'm not giving any gestures. I'm already communicating. So anything you do is communication. If I keep quiet now, I am communicating. Imagine what would happen if you ask me a question and I would just be staring at you without saying anything.
I would just feel that you were not communicating.
No, but people know I'm communicating because they will say, watch his body language. Perhaps he doesn't like the presenter.
Really?
Okay. It's actually getting interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Very interesting. Now you say, for instance, you give an example now. If she were to ask you a question and you don't, reply, she feels you're not communicating, and some other people feel probably maybe you don't like the question she's asked you and all of that. My question is, this aspect of communication, what do we call it? Because a lot of people, because you said we communicate in various ways. A lot of people thoughts and mindset is different from some other set of people. So why would she feel that you're not communicating with her, and some other person will feel you probably don't just like the question she's asked?
And that's precisely the theme of this year's World Communication Day, listening with the ear of the heart. You know? So somebody will say, perhaps we have to listen to his silence. His silence is saying something. Perhaps we have to listen to his gaze. His gaze is saying something. So listening is not just about sound. It's not just about physical contact. That's why that word, that expression, the ear of the heart. You know, in Igbo, there's something they say. They say, the walls have ears. You know, the walls have ears. Now we discover that this is not actually the ear with which we understand. This is an instrument, just like communication we have said. Communication has instrument. And then listening has an instrument. That instrument is the ear. But the actual act, the actual listening happens within. And that's why the Pope says, when we learn to listen with the ear of the heart, then that's the key thing. And of course, you know, even if you go to the scriptures, you'll find that Isaiah chapter 6, verses 8 and 9 says something. He said, these people will listen and listen, but they do not understand. Why? Because they're only listening here. And to tell you how important that information, that message from Prophet Isaiah was, Jesus took it up in the New Testament. In Matthew chapter 13, no, verses 12 and to 14. Jesus was quoting again what Prophet Isaiah said. He said, we can listen without understanding. We can look without seeing. That's another correlation
Aspects of it.
theme.
Okay, let's continue now. Let me continue, Messi Hills. We have established that if you don't have instruments or components of communication, it's difficult for you to communicate. So what are these instruments?
I think the instruments of communication, like Father said, one is the heart, your eye, that's the part of the body. The way we talk too, I think that's part of the instrument. The language of expression too is part of the instrument of communication. So when we don't have all of those things, we don't listen with our heart, we don't listen with the parts of our bodies, we don't communicate with languages, I don't think we can communicate well.
All right, Father, I have this question because a lot of relationships are crashing, marriages are crashing. It looks as if the world is not getting any better. Would we blame all of this on communication?
I think blaming all these on communication will be a misnomer. You know, I think, let me take you back to what the Pope said in the message. He said,
okay, I was actually going to ask you the message, the
Okay.
Pope Francis message
Yeah,
for this year's
that's-
World Communication Day.
That's what I had said before. The theme of his message is listening with the ear of the heart. And then I can say it in 3 key words.
Okay, but that's just the theme.
That's the
What
theme.
are the
the
components of
message.
that,
Then he
message?
first established that the basic human need is that of listening. Everybody wants to be listened to. Is an inner desire in human being. Everybody wants to be listened to. A wife gets angry because the husband does not listen to her. The husband gets upset because the wife does not listen to him. And that's why you find that, why do we say that people nag? We accuse people of nagging because we feel they don't listen. We feel they don't want to listen to what we are saying. So he said it's a basic need of human being. And then he said, listening builds communion. It builds communion. You become my friend when I discover you listen to me. And then I discover you also discover that I listen to you. You're already building a relationship. So relationship, genuine relationship cannot happen unless you have listening involved, you know. And then listening also develops people. That's the third and the final key word I will use there, that listening is for development. You can't pass your exam unless you listen to what you're reading. You can't be a good student unless you listen to your lecturer. You can't be a good child unless you listen to the words of wisdom that come from your parents. You cannot be a good parent if you don't listen to the feelings. So you see that listening is not just about words, to the feelings of your children. You know, I remember when we were small, when we were in a public sphere, my mother doesn't talk. She would just do a gaze. And of course, you understand.
It still happens. You still talk to children with such gestures. Okay, Messi, from what Reverend Father Anusi has said, listening with the ear, what do you think that can cause or make somebody not to listen with the heart? Okay? You are listening because a lot of us are listening with our ears. So, and the heart is not communicated, it's not linked. So what is it? Is it because you have not communicated very well, or that what you are saying is not pleasant for the person to digest and then understand you?
I think lack of patience. So many people want to talk. Like, the world is so noisy that everybody wants to say everything. Like, we're here now. I want to talk. Father wants to talk. Everybody wants to talk. And you want to talk. Nobody wants to understand and keep quiet. Like, I think nobody wants to be patient. Everybody's so impatient to listen to one another. Another thing I think is lack of love too. Most people don't, like, it takes the heart to love. So most people don't even understand the fact that if I love this person, I want to talk to this person. I want to listen to this person. I want to listen to this person, basically. So when there is no love, when there is impatience, people tend not to listen with the heart. They just hear people talk and it doesn't even sink there.
All right, well, if you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Anambra, and we've been talking about the 2022 World Communication Day. It's time for you to join us in a discussion. You can call the number on your screen, and your questions you need to ask. Reverend Father is here, Mercy Hill is here also giving us your questions. If there are contributions you need to make, of course, we'll also be here to hear all of that. I'll come back to you, Father. Back to my question. A lot of things are not going on right. And I'm asking this question because I want to be very realistic. You find out a lot of relationships are going wrong, marriages, even at the workplace, wherever. And it looks as if sometimes you hear someone says, she doesn't listen. And that's why she's always getting into trouble. And the next person says, he's always talking. He doesn't even know what he's saying. So in all of this, you think communication, or is there a particular way we're supposed to be communicating that don't make anybody angry or make people want to listen?
Yeah. Remember,
looking at joining it with the rate of insecurity, disobedience, a whole lot of things that is going on in the country. Yeah. Is it as a result of a lack of communication?
Yeah. Yes. And now, like I said, when you begin to take communications piecemeal, we will have a problem. It's just like a house. You know how a building has so many parts. You have the roof, you have the ceiling, you have the door, and so forth and so on. If you begin to build a house by putting up doors and windows and ceiling, that house will collapse. But if you want to build a house and then you go to the foundation, you make a good foundation, because you have to ask how many story building? 5. Then the foundation, the depth of foundation for 5-story building is not the same with a 1-floor building. And that foundation is so key to the solidity of the house. The same thing happens in communication. Somebody talking is communicating. Somebody who is angry is communicating. Somebody who is quarreling is communicating. But there's a foundation. That's what the Pope is pointing out. Listening is like foundation to having a peaceful communication, to having a peaceful relationship. Like you are saying, so many relationships are going wrong because nobody wants to listen. Like she said, the people are impatient. I want to prove that this is my right. The other person said, this is my right. Nobody is listening. Everybody is talking. Everybody wants to emphasize his or her own part, his or her own right. And remember the Igbo adage, uno, udodinia, unonye ndidi, nonia. So anyhow that has peace, there's somebody who is patient in that house. And so that listening is the foundation. And that brings me to your question. The insecurity, look at, the governor was sworn in. Everybody had been shouting before, these people, nobody was reaching out to the bandits, nobody was reaching out to this and that. We had a governor. He was sworn in. He began by reaching out, even offering amnesty, but nobody was listening. You see, so the spread of insecurity is not because we don't have a governor who wants to reach out, who wants to give amnesty, who wants to say, come, let us sit down. You see, the governor was wise. He said, come, let's sit down and talk to one another. I want to listen to the cause of your agitation. I want to listen to your anger. Like he said, they were impatient to listen. They don't want to listen to the governor. The governor called a stakeholding meeting of everybody that matters, religious, political, traditional, various groups, town union. They came, they listened to the governor. You discover the only group that didn't want to listen to the governor is the group that is causing havoc in the state. So listening is very important. If they had listened, by now they would have been out of the bush. Mm-hmm. By now we will be talking about how to address, if you have a genuine need, we address it. So without listening, that's why I gave the image of foundation. Without listening, it is very difficult. Even if you are talking, even if you are communicating, even if you are sending WhatsApp message, even if you are doing video call, if you don't listen, there will be problem. That's the foundation.
Let's quickly look at the activities of the 2022 World Communication Day. What have you mapped out for the celebration in the States?
Okay. This year is very unique. It's happening the first time.
I'm excited.
It's happening the first time because since 1967, when we began to celebrate World Communication Day, we are in the 56th edition. So it is really from 1967. Every year we discuss a message. And then this year, by the initiative of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, they decided to make it a week-long celebration. So we hear what is called now Communication Week. That is Com Week, you know. And we had a flag off already last Sunday, 22nd. And then you couldn't imagine that we got students from about 11 schools, secondary schools, gathered. And then we got personalities to talk to them about career and family life, about social media and mainstream media by Ifearon, about religion and academics, and then about, you know, how digital and the tech economy, you know, how you can, as a student, you don't need a shop in order to make money. You don't need a shop in order to be successful. You are in the media. You know so many people who make a lot of money by their YouTube following, by their social media handle. So students, we're beginning to link the students, not just excellent in the classroom, but linking them between the classroom and the corporate business media world. That is very important. And so every week, the whole of that week, the whole of this 1 week, we mapped out one aspect of human life and see how listening is connected and is fundamental to that aspect. That's what we have been doing, and that's why we're here today.
Okay, so where are we today, and what is left?
Yeah, what is left is that tomorrow we have to talk about how social media and their impact on young people. And on Sunday will be the climax. The Sunday is the D-Day. That's the actual World Communication Day celebration. And we'll begin by the Holy Mass at St. Patrick's Cathedral, Oka, to be presided over by the Catholic Bishop of Oka, Most Reverend Paulinus Ezokaf. The governor who is invited, and we hope he will be there. The Commissioner for Information will be there. And what we do, we have two parts. The first part is the Eucharist. We celebrate the Mass because God is the key. And then we listen to God first. And God listens to us, because that's the beautiful thing about the Mass. It's a dialogue. God listens to us, we listen to God. And then after that, we gather in the second section, where journalists in the state, media executives, media practitioners, they all sit together to discuss Pope's message and how it affects their work in the field. And of course, we have the key discussant to be Chuka Nabife, the MD of National Light. 2 years ago, we had the former MD of ABS, Uche to be there. So, and the other time we had the commissioner, or the former commissioner of information, CDON, Adenoba. So you see, so it is really clear we bring journalists together to listen to one another. And then we listen also to their problems and their challenges in carrying out.
It's going to be a very full week. Full eventful week.
And you are invited.
I know.
All right, let's you know, as time is not our friend, while we're round off, let's go back to the family Communication Day. In this part of the world, Reverend Father, it looks as if it is only the parent who is trying to communicate to the children. And when you look at the speed at which lots of children the kind of life they're living these days as young people, you begin to ask questions. Were you raised from a good family? Who raised you in all of that? Would you say, Father, that because the parents don't listen to their children, would have been one of the reasons why a lot of children or a lot of young people have turned wayward?
Okay. But before you answer that question, please, let's take a street walk. We'll talk to some people on the street. Let's hear what they will say, and then we'll come back to the studios.
Communication itself is a complex thing, and it has its roots in human civilization. Even animals communicate. When you watch the hen and the chick moving around, you hear the quom quom quom. And then of course, when the chick, the hen sees maybe something like a kite flying around, it makes those sounds, and the chicks take cover. So in other words, humans communicate, animals communicate, ghosts communicate. So basically, it's something that living organisms cannot really do without. That's the mark of somebody being living.
It is through communication that we do businesses. We even, almost everything we do in this world is through communication. But now, due to internet, there are a lot of misinformation. Communication will help us when we get the right information. When you acquire the wrong one, you go astray. So if people are able to disseminate right information, that is when our society will be better. But due to internet, we continue to acquire wrong information. Now, if something happens here, the next thing you will see is information that maybe that was disseminated last year or 2 years ago. You see it popping up again. And people will start, running helter-skelter. Unless if somebody that knows how to find out the exact period that information appeared the first time. If you are in the net very well, you will see that at times somebody will say, this thing happened 3 years ago, because maybe the person has the app that will help the person. So the best thing is for us to find out the app that will help us to detect the information, the right one, so that we will not go on with misinformation, which is destroying our society today.
For the fact that we are humans, we communicate, we share one problem or the other with people, and in doing so, there is nobody knows it all. When you talk to somebody, maybe on an issue, they can help you out, and if you don't say it out, that is one of the reasons we've been experiencing suicide and other things, because they are not communicating. They keep things to themselves.
Communication will go a very long way in solving the problem of our nation, Nigeria, and the Anambra State in particular. Because if there is no communication, there will be no information, sort of. Because it's communication that brings information. For instance, if something happens in Obo family, they didn't pass the information, they didn't communicate, and somebody is traveling back to Obo family, the person may be in danger. So communication helps a lot in solving problems in our society.
We're glad to have you back. It's still Good Morning Anambra. Of course, we just went to the street to listen to what people have to say about the World Communication Day. Of course, time is not our friend while we round off. Father, quickly, what would you have to say? Communication, parents, children. Would you say it's one of the reasons why a lot of children are wayward, because parents don't listen to their children?
I think it's not just about parents listening, it is also about children listening. It's a mutual relationship. Communication is a relationship. Everybody has a duty and an obligation. And everybody has a right too. Every child has a right to be listened to, and every parent has a right to be listened to. And that's where discernment comes in. And the only thing that will help you to discern what to do at any point is your ability at listening. You must listen. Because if you listen to somebody, by the time you pay attention to somebody and begin to listen to him or her, the person will begin to feel belong. The person will begin to feel accepted. Just like if I travel to a place that nobody knows me, if anybody comes to me and say hi, I become friends with that person.
All right, quickly, while we're round off, what's your message to everyone watching home and abroad and the Anambra as we celebrate World Communication Day?
Please, listen. The first message is listen. The second message is listen. The third message is listen.
All right, thank you very much. Mercy Hills, what would you want to say to the girl child listening to you right now?
I think the girl child should listen more to people out there, like to people who, their mentors actually, people they look up to. Most people just tend to talk, complain. They don't have a time to listen to other people, to listen to their mentors, talk to them. So I feel we should always tend to listen. That's it.
All right, that's exactly what we're drawing the curtains in today's edition of the program, World Communication Day. Good morning, Anambra, and you've listened to us, and you've heard the key word is listen. This is it, Ayomide. We have to go. Sports is coming up next.
Okay, thank you very much. Happy Children's Day to our children at home, and a happy weekend to everybody.
Yes, good to have you. And once a very big thank you to our guest this morning, Reverend Founder Dr. Martins Anusi, who is the Director of the Social Communications of the Catholic Diocese of Awka and Fides Media. Reverend Father, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, and thank you for listening to us.
Of course, Mercy Hills, a journalist with Fides Media and the woman who advocates and fights for the girl child. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, and thank you for listening too.
All right, until we'll come your way next week, I'm a Barry will go now, alongside Reed. IJ, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.